I can tell you crazy stories. I don't care. On to the next. On to the
On
next.
to the next.
On to the next. You want to make it? You want to go to the big leagues? You want to play in the big leagues? Well, you got to deal with all that rejection into it.
I got my focus on passion and empathy. Gaining perspectives, investing, I do believe. Money and grinding go hand in hand, you will see. I'm working smart, expending my energy. Hope that you feeling me, I'm acting differently. You got a friend in me. I'm working hard to try and work smart. No time to complain, it's time to start. We gotta work. Future millionaires.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first ever episode of Future Millionaires. And today we got on a real heavy hitter for y'all. We got on Josh York, who is an Inc. 500 entrepreneur. And for those of you who don't know what that means he can grow a business and grow it fast, okay? That business that he is growing is GYMGUYZ with a Z, okay? They are disrupting the fitness industry. He is the founder and CEO of them. They've spread to over half the states in America, okay? And they are now in 3 countries. They are the fastest growing fitness brand in history. We're not talking about 2018, 2019, in history, okay? He has overcame insane adversity and he is full of energy. I'm hyped up today for Josh York. Josh, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well, man. I love the intro, baby. I love the energy. We're about to really bring some high-level energy, some high nuggets. People
Yes.
will walk away from this, and it's going to change your life. So I'm really excited, Gavin. Thank you so much. Appreciate you, and you got the best head of hair, man. Look at that head of hair. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. If I had that head of hair right now, I'd be going through a bottle of gel a day. Easily.
Oh, Josh, you're too kind, man. And I know that you're going to bring this value to the listeners, and I'm super excited to get into it. So let's waste no more time. I'd love for you to give the listeners just a quick 60-second intro of what you're up to with your business and life right now.
Sure. So, like you said, I'm the founder and CEO of GYMGUYZ. We are the fastest growing fitness brand in history. We've grown really, really fast in a short period of time. Been franchising 4 years, currently with 265 locations in 32 states. We're in 3 countries, about to enter our 4th country. We are like the Amazon of fitness. We are disrupting the fitness industry. We bring the workout to you. We come in our fully loaded van, stocked with 365 pieces of equipment. We like to break it down one for each day of the year. And what do? We go out and provide our 3 C's, and that's convenient, customized, and creative workouts. We service clients anywhere from their home, office, pool, park, place of worship. You want to work out in the closet? We'll work you out in the closet. And honestly, people have their vision. I call it our guarantee. In 15, 20 years, we will be the largest fitness brand in the world. The chances of that not happening, you got a better chance of getting hit by lightning 5 times.
I love that so much, and I don't doubt that for a second, Josh. So I'd love if you would just dive into your early upbringing for our listeners, kind of give them a perspective of what life was like, growing up for you, and especially in those high school years.
Sure. So growing up for me was definitely a challenge. I had a lot of things, but look, I take negative situations, I make them positives. I don't focus on negatives. Things in life happen to you. Is how people really look at it. When things happen, they always think something's happening to them. But I like to look at it, things are happening for you, right? And when you take that perspective of things are happening for you in life, if it's something really bad, you look at it and try to really dissect and get in there and understand the reason why it's happening. But look, through my high school years, I didn't know what I wanted to do, and the big thing was, what am I going to do when I grow up? I had no idea. So, I hated school, and I was never a big fan of school, but I always figured out how to get around things, how to persuade, and I was very good at always getting the job done. I know what I want to do. In high school, I literally used to cut my class on a regular basis. I actually got an award from my principal for cutting the most classes in high school. And I used to go to the gym, and the gym had those push doors. And on the outside of the push door, I used to duct tape the lock so I could just come around the back and cut a class. And when I go around the back, I could just open up the door and work out. So I used to work out in there all the time with the lights off. And then I got caught one day and I got suspended from school for a week, and that was horrible. But look, high school, socially, yeah, it's great. College, socially, it was great. If I would have done it all over again, I would have never, ever went to college. College, from a social perspective, yes, it was fantastic. But, when I'm sitting in class, listening to someone talk to me, telling me how to be successful, and I'm sitting there thinking the whole time how much money they have in their bank account. And then, weeks go by and I see a professor drive by and he's driving a beat up station wagon and he's telling me how to be successful. That really didn't mix well with me. And I'm not saying, school's bad if you're going to be a doctor, if you got to be a lawyer, an accountant, but if you want to be an entrepreneur, listen, my wife hates when I say this, but I'm just gonna tell you, school's a waste of time. And if my kids, they're not going to be a doctor, a lawyer, attorney, I'm not sending them to college. But I know my wife will argue with me that, it's about the experience, but then you're paying hundreds of thousands of dollars and you're in debt for the rest of your life for an experience. So those were my days. And then, I graduated college and did what you're supposed to do, right? I got a 9-to-5 job working for a boss. That's the worst thing you could ever do. You always want to work for a leader, not a boss. And here I am in this office, miserable with the rest of the world that literally, 85% of the world drives to work on a Monday committing spiritual suicide. They hate their job. They stare at the clock all day and they're absolutely miserable. Well, I'm not going to be one of those people because I'm about not, going into that circle that everyone in the rest of the world is in that circle. I like to be outside the circle. And for me, I was like, you know what? Let me follow my passion. It's fitness. One day, one of my clients came in late, said, Josh, I wish you can come to my house. I don't have any equipment. And that kind of rang off a little bell in my head and the light bulb turned on. And I said, wow, how great would it be? And that's how I started GYMGUYZ. And here we are today. And we're just getting started.
I love that so much. So one thing that I picked up on that I really think, helped you elevate GYMGUYZ, and I'd love for you to elaborate a little more on this, was you talked about, your persuasion skills, and that goes hand in hand with selling. So can you just touch on, a little bit about how you developed that, or if it was kind of natural and how it's, benefited you?
No one is natural at sales. Sales has to be something that's learned. And I'll tell you right now, I don't sell. I tell stories. If you're not willing to be uncomfortable, you're never going anywhere. I'm telling you that right now. And that is a cold-hearted fact. If you are not going to be uncomfortable, you're not going anywhere. Look, most people think I'm extremely extroverted. I'm really actually not. And most entrepreneurs really are not. Most entrepreneurs are actually introverted. Majority of them, that people don't really understand that. I'm very extroverted when it comes to business. When it's just me and my family, that's it. I'm like a big believer, honestly, in solitude. I have no friends, 0 friends. I got like one person that's my really good friend. That's it. I don't have time for it. I don't want time for it. And that's just it. I just, that's not something I focus on. So I do believe that's part of it. As people like to say, entrepreneurship is very lonely. I don't have a lot of people out there that actually understand me or get it unless they're really people coming from the same world I'm in, the entrepreneurial world, because the entrepreneurial world is very dirty. And a lot of people don't understand that. And that's why they can't play this game. But for me, I've always been about telling stories, always about telling stories. Look, as far as assessments, when I used to do the training, I've been on 697 of them. I've closed every single one except 17. Those 17 to this day still kill me. But I've never sold GYMGUYZ. I've never sold the service. I sold the relationship. You want to start getting uncomfortable? Walk into a store every single time and ask for a coupon. Try to get a coupon. You want to get uncomfortable? Walk into a store, pick up some body wash, and say to the gentleman behind the counter, "Excuse me, I'm a little dirty on the back of my shoulder. Would you mind rubbing this on my shoulder?" How weird is that? That's just weird.
Yeah.
But that's very uncomfortable. Most people won't do that. I'm just going off the top of my head, just giving you examples. That definitely would be kind of weird. I'm not saying to do that, but you have to be able to do weird things. Like go up in the store and ask someone for $20. Hey, how you doing, man? I don't have any money. Can you give me $20? And the chances are she's going to say no, of course. And you're like, okay, thank you. But the thing is, all these things allow you to practice. Now, in the normal world, people say practice makes perfect. Well, in the Josh York world, I say practice makes permanence. You have to perfect your craft. You have to constantly get better and better and better and better. You think Will Smith because he's Will Smith? Will Smith's been going after it for years and years, decades. That's how you get good. You think Michael Jordan's Michael Jordan because he's who he is? No. That guy got cut from his high school basketball team. But when everyone else is out partying, he's shooting 3 throws. He's putting in the work. He's grinding. That's what it takes. And that's why you have to be able to tell stories. I don't care if I'm selling screws, if I'm selling Post-it notes. I'm going to tell you the most amazing story about this Post-it note. Then let me tell you, it's got the most amazing adhesive on the back of this pad. It comes straight from the United Kingdom. And this adhesive is so sticky. When you want to post that note on your desk, it's going to stick. It's not going anywhere. But let me tell you something about this Post-it. When you write a note on it, oh my God, when the pen hits the Post-it, it just glides. And when it glides and the message goes on there, it's just absolutely amazing. And all of your coworkers are going to love this Post-it. You're already buying one. I already see your facial expression, Gavin. See, that's what it's about. But that's how you have to do it. You got to tell stories. I was in the airport the other day. I took a day trip out to Dallas. And across from the gate, there was a bakery. And I was waiting in line, you know, I was not waiting in line for the baker. I was waiting in line to check on the plane. And I'm watching this woman sell these. She was putting out like these, I think it was like salted lemon cake caramel muffins. They looked insane. And I'm watching her, and I said to her, excuse me, let me just ask you a question. I was like, you know, who owns this place? She's like, oh, actually, I do. And I'm watching her. She's like, here, you want a sample? Here, have a sample. Here you go, try a muffin. And I'm like, listen, I don't want to be disrespectful by you, but can I step in and show you something? So she's like, sure. So I grabbed the tray. I put my bag down. I'm like, sir, how you doing, sir? Do you want to taste something that's amazing, that's going to melt in your mouth? And I took some of the salt. I said, look at this. I sprinkled it on top of it. I was like, it's the most amazing cupcake you ever got. Literally, in a matter of 2 minutes, I must have brought her in $150, $200. In a matter of 2 minutes, because I was passionate, I was energetic, and I was selling how good it was. I was like, you want to be in heaven right now, ma'am? This woman walked up. I said, do you want to be in heaven? And she's like, excuse me? I was like, I'm about to take you to heaven. Come with me. Come here. Come here. And I brought her in. I was like, taste a piece of this cupcake. It's going to melt in your mouth. You've never tasted anything like it. She tasted it. I don't even think it was that good. She was just like, oh, my God, it's amazing. She bought a whole case of them. But this is what I'm talking about. This is how you sell. And most people don't understand that because they're not willing to be animated, to be uncomfortable, and to step out of their comfort zone.
That is huge. And you take that from the whole podcast alone and you're already getting tons of value. That's something that's not going to be taught in school right there. Straight from Josh York's knowledge. Make sure you guys write that one down. But Josh, I would love to talk about the beginning of your business because I know that you had to have this same passion and you still do to this day. When you started out though, you know, you didn't have these people believing in you right away. Maybe you had a few, but I just would love to hear about, you know, how you started and for you to share that all with our listeners.
Sure. Well, it comes down to you know, look, I was working out in my parents' dining room. My father's walking around in his underwear. I have people in the living room. You know, it's so unprofessional. No one's going to take anyone seriously, but you got to sell the vision. As I always say, you got to start with a blank canvas. You got to paint the canvas as how you see it. And once a canvas is painted, you got to literally perfect it. So people have to buy into you. If you're not energetic, if you're not persuasive enough, if you don't believe enough, no one's going to come on board. And the biggest challenge for me back in the day was to bring on the right people, because I'm telling people I'm going to build the largest fitness brand in the world, and people are laughing at me. People are calling me a trainer, and go back and make $10 an hour. And inside, I don't care what people think about me. I'm laughing in my head. I'm like, oh, you just wait one day. I'm going to change the game forever. Because see, even on social, I just came on social not too long ago, maybe 6-7 months ago, and it's starting to take off now. But see, I've been hibernating for 10 years, but now I'm coming out to play, and now people are going to really start knowing me, and I'm going to take over the game forever because I believe that. But you have to be able to believe it enough. And if you can't let other people believe it enough, it's not going to work. So if I'm trying to sell a vision to someone and I'm like, how you doing? My name is Josh York. I'm going to build the largest fitness brand in the world. You know, I'm looking for people to come onto my team. Are you interested? That's not going to work. It's not going to work. Everything I like to do is at a very high level, a very intense level. Everything I do. I don't drink coffee. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I rock like this every single day. I am wired so differently. The chances are you're never going to meet anyone like me. And I'm just saying that because I'm just giving you real facts. But it's about selling the vision, and that's been from day one, and how I built this business and how I built this company. Look, I have more stories I could share and give you ulcers through this podcast. I ate cans of tuna for 4 years. I got evicted from my apartment. I've slept in my vehicle. I've had my van shut down during blizzards, and I've had to walk home. I had flat tires, and I ran to clients just so I wasn't late. I've had more people screw me than you could possibly imagine. More people steal from me. More people hurt me. More people betray me. You keep moving forward. I have the 5-minute rule. Spend 5 minutes on getting upset at whatever you want to get upset about and get over it. That's it. I don't waste time on what happened in the past. I move forward. That's how you move the needle. If you want to move the needle, most people will never move the needle. And I'd love for you to prove me wrong, but you will never move the needle because you're scared. If you're going to live in the world of fear, you're never going over the fence to the other side. Every successful entrepreneur has suffered pain. If you want to be big time, if you want to make big money, you solve big problems. If you want to make little money and deal with no headaches, you solve little problems. I like to solve big problems. I like my back against that wall. I like to even be lit on fire. I'll get out of it every single time. Like when I had to make payroll and I almost drove to a casino to put the remainder of my life savings on red, because red's our color, just to make payroll. I have done some of the craziest things you could ever imagine. You have no idea. And most people will never understand because people never look at, what it took to get there. People always look at the finished product. But if you want to be the finished product, you have to sacrifice. You have to be consistent. You have to be able to endure pain. You have to be willing to take the hits. And every time you keep getting hit, love it. Love it. Embrace it. Learn from it. A mistake is a lesson. If you want to choose to make that mistake again, well, that's on you and shame on you. But that is how you learn. That's how you grow. That's how you achieve greatness.
I love that, Josh. That was amazing right there. And one thing I heard you touch on, which I feel like a lot of people, they struggle a lot with this problem, which is rejection in sales. And I know you said you give them the 5-minute rule, but when you're going up there, you're selling these cupcakes and you're in front of all these people, you're all excited, emotional, and you get rejected. Some guy just says, no, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to you. How do you deal with that? Do you just go right to the next person with that same energy, or what does that look like?
I never stop. Listen, you know how many, I used to go door to door. I used to knock on people's doors. I've had people throw stuff at me. I had a dog once bite me. I'm not even joking. A little dog ran out, bit me. I can tell you crazy stories. I don't care. On to the next. On to the next. On to the next. You want to make it? You want to go to the big leagues? You want to play in the big leagues? Well, you got to deal with all that rejection until you're actually legit. Once you're legit, then you can start making, all the calls, and then people will start paying attention to you. But you got, look, no one knew Will Smith 50 years ago, 40 years ago. The guy was like a baby. And then, people started learning about him, when he started getting in his acting career. No, half these people that are out there right now that people admire, they have to realize where they came from, because everyone comes from the same place. Everyone has the same skin. Yeah, maybe the colors are different. I don't care what color your skin is. It makes no difference to me. But everyone's the same, everyone's the same. But the people who are going to make it are the ones who are going to just keep moving forward.
Got to move that needle. I love that. Okay. Now, before you started GYMGUYZ, going to shift gears just a little bit here. Did you have any prior business experience running a business, or what was that looking like for you?
Well, no, I never did. I can't explain it. I have like this just intuition with certain things. And I just always kind of just knew just how things had to be done in certain ways. And obviously I've aligned myself with the best of the people in the world. And that's also helped me because obviously, I want to learn from mistakes that other people have made. But no, I'm just very driven. And that is a very important quality you have to have. And when you believe in something and want something bad enough, and you really put it in your mind and you obsess over it and you never stop, ever stop, no matter what, that's all it's needed.
Okay, that is great. Now, when you said you aligned yourself with some of the best people in the world, how did you seek out those mentors or build those relationships? How did you approach them and maintain that?
Not easy, I'll tell you that. Some people I've approached 50 times. Some people I've approached 100 times. One person took me almost 500 times. Never stop it. It's just that simple. Most people give up. The problem is, see, here's the miracle, right? The miracle's right here. And people stop right here. They're almost like literally about to touch it and get to it, and then they stop and quit because they're not strong enough. Look, it's great to be physically fit. And let me tell you, my man, I am physically fit. But let me tell you something. You want to be mentally fit? That's where it's at. If you're not mentally fit, you're not going anywhere. You are not going anywhere. This is why I push myself to, I do some crazy stuff, man. I sit in 37-degree ice baths. I duct tape my mouth when I do cardio and breathe out of my nose only. I push myself so hard sometimes that I'm literally like, I take seeing stars to a whole nother level. But that uncomfortable feeling is what makes so many other things easy for me because I embrace it. I love that pain. I love it because it makes me better than everybody else. Because if you're going to run a mile, I'm running 2. If you're going to do 50 push-ups, I'm doing 100. I am super, super competitive. But I truly believe I'm one of the baddest, if not the baddest person on this planet. I believe that. I don't care if there's someone else who's out there. I can care less. I'm telling you right now, I believe that I am the baddest. I just believe it. I believe it, and that's it. But I push myself. I never stop. I always set new standards, new goals, and I continue to keep crushing them.
That is huge. Now, I imagine that you apply that same relentlessness when you're leading, GYMGUYZ. So can you provide me and our viewers just some advice on, how you lead and you don't act like a boss, and how you really, set the culture in your company with that?
Culture eats strategy for breakfast. If you are a boss, you're never going anywhere. Leaders create leaders, and leaders lead by example. And you have to lead by example. And I treat everyone as if I treat my own family, my own children. I treat everybody the same. I hold people accountable. If they're not getting the job done, then obviously it's not going to work out. Because, you never, when you hire someone, you never know, right? It's a mystery. But firing someone is a known fact that you have to get rid of somebody. But you got to make sure you make everyone feel comfortable. You got to make sure you truly are able to have that open door policy where people really can, come in and talk to you. Because I've set such a comfort level here in our organization that sometimes people ask me things like, oh my God, I can't believe I just asked you to do that. And I do it. I don't care. I'll clean carpets. I'll wash windows. I do anything. I am a true leader. Leaders always lead by example, and that's a very important thing. And that's why we run our whole business model off the term fuel, which we literally have a gas tank that sits out there. It's the name of my book as well. Fun, unity, earnings, and leadership. And those are the 4 components that every business model needs to be successful.
I love that. So when, you have these employees that trust you so much to ask you to do these things that they would never ask a boss to do. So how do you really get close to building that with them? Like, how do you convince almost a complete stranger to get that close and be that comfortable with you?
First of all, we don't even have employees here. Everyone's part of this team. And that's how I like to refer to everybody. And it's just the way I operate. I write rap songs every year. I create a culture that's just unbelievable. And, and it makes everyone comfortable. And when you do that and you think in a real format of just being real, being a human being, not being an a-hole, because that's not going to get you anywhere. It takes time. It takes practice. And I can't really tell you this is how you're going to do it, because everyone's going to be unique in their own way and be able to adapt to their own style. But you got to be real with people, but people have to believe in you. If you're not a believable person, you're not going anywhere. And that takes time. I used to be so uncomfortable to walk up to someone and talk to them. You want to talk about anxiety? I'll tell you anxiety to a whole nother level, just to talk. I used to literally, the first time I ever went on TV, I was throwing up for an hour. I had such anxiety. By the 15th time going on TV, it's like anything else. Speaking in front of people, I used to get horrible anxiety. And I've spoken in front of 5,000 people. Now I do it like anything else, because practice makes perfect. No, practice makes permanence. But you have to perfect your craft. It takes time. I've been doing this over a decade. This thing didn't happen overnight. I've been driving that van, my God, for a good 5.5, 6 years until I stopped even training people. But that's really what it comes down to.
I love that. That is great. Now, when you are, performing all your daily tasks, I really want you to hit on how you view focus and how you distribute that when you're in a task.
Look, obviously, I always say you gotta quadruple down on your strengths and delegate your weaknesses. If you're someone who's trying to focus on your weaknesses, you are screwing yourself. Let me tell you. But obviously, I'm very task oriented. I always have goals that I have accomplished each day. I set them usually the day before, or it depends if they're on a weekly basis, whatever it may be, and I just get the job done. I get the job done no matter what. That's it. If I always finish what I start. You should always remember that, because you should always finish what you start. Whatever I start with, I finish. So if I have to stay here till 11 o'clock at night or not sleep and go through a whole night without sleeping, I do it. I've cased coffee shops for 48 hours, not even sleeping, to meet one person. You got to be willing to be uncomfortable. And when it comes to tasks and you got to get something done, you get it done. That's it.
That is great. And I know one thing that you've definitely got done is reached out, to some of your mentors. And I'd love for you to elaborate too on some of the strategies you have with sending gifts and how to stand out when you send gifts. Because I know that, Josh, you are the king of that.
Yeah. So for those of you who know me and those of you who don't know me, and obviously it's out there now, so a lot of people I'm sure are going to steal, and that's fine. But I ship people tires. It's very expensive, 18-wheeler truck tires. And it gets their attention, and I leave a note on there that my drive and intensity are going to leave tread marks all over your floor. We need to connect. And I've connected. I've gotten more doors than you could possibly imagine shipping people's tires. Shipping a tire is about $600, just so you know. It's very, very expensive, especially the way I do it, how I do it, what I put in the package, how I deliver it, how it's packaged as far as, strategically put in a certain place. But I've sent people crazy stuff. My God, I've sent people, I've sent people beard oils. I sent trees to people. I've cut down literally branches. I've done things with that. I've sent some crazy stuff to people. I won't send someone a chainsaw. I just do some crazy stuff. I'm just super, super creative. And I always think like there's no box, and that's how you do it. But you got to be willing to really be able to get to the gatekeepers of who you're trying to connect with and make an impact,
Yeah, definitely. And sending a tree or a huge tire, that will definitely do the job. So I'd love for you to elaborate just a little bit on, I know you've got a lot of them, but just some of the habits that you think have served you extremely well throughout your years and journey.
My workouts, 100% my workouts. Every morning, no matter what, you have a sniper outside my house, they'll get me every single day. I'm like clockwork. I don't care if I'm sick, the flu, stomach bug. You never, ever will catch me laying in bed, no matter what. I work all the time, no matter what. Literally, no matter what. You'll never break that from me. I know how my body operates. I know how my mind operates. Until you get to the point of real, true pain, people don't understand how powerful the mind is. Whatever your mind believes, you will achieve it. I'm telling you that right now. But, the routine, my workouts are everything. I'm up every day between 3:15 and 3:45 like clockwork. I got my routine in the morning, get my day going. I get out into my truck, get to the gym around usually 4:45, 4:50. And I'm back home, showered. I'm in the office by like 7:15, 7 o'clock. Like clockwork. And nothing stops that. If I'm traveling, no matter what, I've taken car rides, Ubers for like 2 hours to go to a gym. Because sometimes I've been in the middle of nowhere just to work out. Hotel gyms don't do it for me. Nothing stops me. Discipline is the number one key to success. And that applies to everything in your life. If you're not a disciplined individual, you're not going to get to where you need to be.
Completely. And when you go, on those nights where you might have to, not sleep for a whole day, and you're up the next day and you're tired, is it that mental training that just helps you get through, knowing that you're so tough that you can do this, you can do anything as long as you get through this point? Or how do you, mentally prepare yourself for those moments where you just want to give up and want to go to bed?
I just think about it. And get in the zone. That's it. Like when I got to take a long flight somewhere, 10 hours, 12 hours, whatever it is, I get in the zone. When I'm in a zone, you can't break me. It's just that simple. When I'm in a zone, I can't be broken.
I love that.
I just put myself there. And when I'm there, no one's taking me out of it. It's just that simple.
That is great right there. So, Josh, I'd love to ask, there's lots of advice given. You've given some great ones on this podcast so far here today. But I just would love to ask some advice that you hear often that you think is bad, just advice you hear out there that you disagree with.
Honestly, I'd say the worst advice is listen to your parents. A lot of people say that, listen to your parents. If you listen to your parents, I'm not saying they're always wrong, but getting advice from loved ones is not always the answer. I'll tell you that right now. And, the problem is the way the world's structured is the world sets you up to fail because, who do you listen to? Your role models, your teachers, right? Your parents, they literally set you up to fail. If you want to do something, get out there and do it. It's that simple. Everyone out there doubted me. Everyone. I was always the one getting bad grades. I was always the one who couldn't get this test. I couldn't pass this test. I didn't care. I wasn't into it. I never applied myself. And when you find what you're ready to do and what's really going to, align with you, that's when you start moving. So I wouldn't take advice from people who are your loved ones because they don't always have the best advice.
Completely. So I would love for you to touch on, I know you have a lot of knowledge in franchising. I'd love just to hear, some clear-cut action steps for somebody who's thinking of starting their own franchise, what you would recommend getting in with that.
Well, number one is you got to make sure you have a successful model. It's got to be very successful. It's got to be bulletproof. You got to make sure it's scalable. If it's not set up for you to work on the business and you're working in the business, it's not going to work. You got to make sure you have all your systems in place. You got to make sure you're working on figuring out proprietary information, and you got to figure out how you're going to sell it. But everything's got to be aligned, and you got to make sure it's set up to scale to the thousands, or maybe just the hundreds, or maybe just the single digits. I don't know what your game plan is going to be, but it's got to be scalable. That's the number one most important thing. How can I scale this? You got to set up the right systems. So it's literally just plug and play.
Completely. Now, for somebody who may be listening, who already has a franchise, it's had some success, do you have any expert tips or just advice that you could give to someone who's, just looking to take their already successful franchise to that next level?
Get uncomfortable. It's a very bumpy ride.
That's the reoccurring theme of today. And I hope all the listeners really apply that, because it's something I strongly believe in as well. And I'm always preaching to my friends, get uncomfortable, push your comfort zone, and get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So I absolutely love that.
See, look, the thing is, I was running a very, very successful business. I was making big money, big money. And I went from making big money, and everyone from the outside's thinking that, look at Josh York, man, this guy's killing it. I literally went from making all this big money to making zero. Because when I started franchising, you're starting a whole new business, and you got to feed the beast. And if you're not pumping money into it from my successful business into the franchise business, you're not going to move the needle. You're not going anywhere. You're not going to grow. Do you know what's crazy? You know how many franchise brands out there franchise and never sell a franchise? Like 45% is the number. 45% franchise their business and never sell one. I think it's 3% sell over 500. We're going to be there. I'll tell you that right now.
I believe it.
But people don't understand. So you need to be prepared. Because it's a roller coaster ride. But keep your eye on the prize. It's actually a new rap. It's one of the rap lines in my new song for this year's conference. I didn't release it yet, but it's a roller coaster ride. So best believe, keep your eye on the prize, and you will succeed. Impacting the world is our passion. Wearing our gear is our fashion. We're killing the game like assassins. From 0 to 60 in 3 seconds flat, we're the fastest growing franchise. Remember that.
Oh my gosh, I love that right there. Everyone thought they were only getting a podcast interview, but they're also getting a little bit of show in here, a little sneak peek. But Josh, we're here, we're getting towards the end of the podcast. I got one question I ask all my guests, and I'm just going to put that on you right now. It is, what is the biggest change that you want to make in your life?
I want to be able to impact as many people as I can. I want to be able to help, children who are less fortunate. I don't know why. It's just something that's really special to me, that I just want to be able to make a difference for kids. And, there's a lot of different things that really touch me. For some reason, when, kids are like mistreated, it's just something that really bothers me. And I want to be someone who could really make a difference there and be known to make a difference. So that's really something that's top on my list.
That is definitely an amazing goal to have. And I know that you're implementing stuff every day to get closer to that goal. And yeah, I just want to thank you so much, Josh, for hopping on the podcast today for Future Millionaires. Where can our listeners follow up with you at? Where is the best place?
Yeah, you can follow me on LinkedIn at Josh York. You can follow me on Instagram at Josh York GG. I have a Facebook. I'm not very active on it. My team is, and I just actually started a Twitter account. But I'm really big on Instagram and very, very big on LinkedIn. So those are the two places.
That is amazing, Josh. I hope all the listeners really follow up with Josh after getting all this value. It has been my pleasure to have you on, Josh. This was an amazing podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you so much, Gavin.
Oh, you bet. Thank you. And that is a wrap. Thank you so much for tuning into today's show and taking one step closer to becoming that future millionaire. All I'm asking from you guys is that you please take the short amount of time to review this episode. And once you do that, take a screenshot, send it to me on my Instagram, which is Gavin Lero with a period in the middle. And I will be sure to repost that in my Instagram story, give you guys a shout out. Or if you post something about the podcast podcast in your Instagram story, I will be sure to repost that, and there's a little something extra to that I think you guys will like that will be attached to my response to you in the DMs. So look forward to that. All you have to do if you're on iTunes podcast app is you just have to pull up the current episode you're listening to. You hit the purple Future Millionaires underneath the title of that episode. You scroll all the way down to the bottom past all the other episodes. Then you hit write a review, which is underneath, the 5 stars, the visual 5 stars, and you give it a title, a quick description, however amount of stars you think it's worth. Of course, I preferably would love 5. And then you hit send, and all you have to do after that is just know that I am very thankful, guys. I really, really believe that this is a very powerful education tool for your growth, and I want you to succeed. So please also reach out to me on Instagram, which is Gavin.Lira, and I will be sure to answer any questions that you may have, or, any ideas you want to bounce off me. I love to hear them. I love entrepreneurship, helping other people. So let's all succeed together, and you have an amazing day.